Good evening. The children of the night, what the music they make. Yeah, well, this thing is a Yeti Blue microphone. It's supposed to be like the industry standard of USB microphones. And I went ahead and sprung for it as a Christmas present to myself because I would like to do audiobooks. And yeah, I think my voice requires more than 2 hours sleep though. And since I've been switching over to Valium from Xanax, sleeping seems to be a problem. It seems like I'm sleeping weird hours and not sleeping at night. It is 1:54, December 26th. My Christmas consisted of somebody bumming money off of me. So I figure you have to at least be good to yourself. So I feel threatened, however, by this microphone because it's very heavy, and I feel that one day the mount will somehow tear loose and give me a concussion. I don't really know how to use it. I just put it together today. And being a technical retard, it took me a long time to figure out how to put it together. It has many adjustments and things, and this thing is called a pop filter, so that I can say, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, or Slutty Swamp Sally, suck sausages. I was trying to get a sibilant S out, but it's supposed to block all that out. So I wanted to, read audiobooks, and then I went, I can put like a picture up in front here, so nobody wants to look at somebody reading, unless maybe it's like, I don't know, Scarlett Johansson or somebody. So nobody wants to look at a guy reading, so I thought maybe I could get a better quality of sound with this fancy new microphone. And I bought, like, good lord, at least 6 novels that I like to read. And since my leg is not cooperating, I took a hell of a spill today, and I kind of bent my fingers back. But don't worry, I caught myself on an electric heater that was really hot, so I'm fine. But yeah, I took a couple of falls here recently. I had my Christmas spill, and I didn't get hurt really bad, but my walking is not good. So I'll probably this will be, you have to keep busy. And I don't believe in watching a lot of TV. I believe in doing things that are somewhat creative, that take effort. Because I don't know, I just watched a series called Dairy Girls that's set in Ireland during the British occupation, and it's a British TV show that was absolutely killer. But at the same time, I would much rather be doing anything, even though there were girls of youngish age in Catholic schoolgirl outfits, and I grew up and went to Catholic school until the 9th grade, so it brings back very fond memories for me. But another problem I have with this mic is I can't figure out how to get it mounted. See, this red light is supposed to be facing me, and I don't know if I can tilt it or I can adjust it or whatever. But the cool thing about the mic is that it's like only sensitive on one side of it, so it can block out background noise such as Stampalicious upstairs, or the water coming through the ceiling and down the open wall pipes in the wall, or the fan in the background. But actually it's backwards of what it should be right now. So I'm sure I'm not getting optimum sound right now. This is the first time I've tried it out. And I could look at some tutorials or something or try to figure it out, but you have to screw the microphone part, which weighs about 3 freaking pounds, in a certain way, and then to have it mounted the way that I have it mounted, and I really can't figure out any other way to mount it, it's just going to be backwards. I could put it on like an omnidirectional setting, but it only makes sense, for me to use whatever that, I think it's cardioid or something weird, where it only one half of the microphone is sensitive and the other half is dull, and that way it blocks out all ambient noise, because I would like to make audiobooks. It's a very odd dream to have, but I would like to read audiobooks. I've always loved books. My mother read to me. It's one of my fondest memories is my mother reading to me, and I would enjoy reading for other people, and getting better at that. And if I have a good microphone, I can speak more quietly and still get picked up, and perhaps I could do a better job, which would be cool. So anyways, I should mention that on Christmas Eve, my aunt, who was close to death twice, at death's door twice in the last 4 months, actually got to go home for a brief time and sit in her house, and she was quite weak, but she was eating and sitting up in a chair, and was relatively pleasant and whatnot. She's 75 years old, and most people had written her off as this was going to be her last year on Earth, so that might not even be true. And the amazing thing to me is I went in and saw her in the nursing home on the 8th of this month, and she was utterly miserable and uncomfortable and sitting in a chair and couldn't wait for us to leave. And then in 16 days, she goes from just being an accomplishment, sitting up in a wheelchair and standing, to walking 75 steps with a walker, resting, and then walking 75 more steps. So that just goes to show you, like, mind power. And that's really an amazing thing. I don't know how comfortable she is physically. But she didn't look too bad yesterday, and she didn't look like she was suffering too bad yesterday. So I spent about 4 or 5 hours with her on Christmas Eve. My other family, I just avoided and took a pass on. And I talked to one of the main people, and I explained it like this. I said, I need to wait till I get clean, because I don't want to go there and ruin everybody's Christmas, which is kind of a half-truth. But I will post how my December, as far as how the volume switch is going. And I don't know, but like I've said in the past, volume does not equal Xanax to me. So it disrupts my sleep. I do not understand why Xanax doesn't make me sleepy, even though it's a 10 times stronger benzo than Valium. But Valium makes me sleep at weird hours during the day, and it disrupts my sleep at night, because I'm sleeping in the day. Yesterday I actually had to go outside and sit in 25-degree weather to wake up when there's like a bunch of people there. And considering the way I'm walking, just walking around is like I told people there, every step is an adventure. Some of you may remember the series Deadwood. They had I think she has cerebral palsy, but and she did a brief stint on stage as a comedian, as we used to call him back in the day. But she was the person that cleaned up the bar in Deadwood. And the Al Swearingen guy, who was the guy with the mustache and the main character on the show, used to look at her when she would walk and say, every step a fucking adventure. And that's pretty much me right now. Because I don't know if I'm going to fall. I broke my coffee mug, because I had to throw my coffee mug across the room and use my free hand to catch myself on the sink. So, it's the transition. I wonder if you could pick that up, me scratching my ear with this new microphone. The transition with the volume, it hasn't been smooth. Um, today was the first day I really took 2 doses of Xanax within 24 hours of each other. I think there's like 44 hours, 32 hours, 34 hours. I'm just trying to take as little Xanax as possible. That's my goal. Of course, is to switch from one to the other. I don't know if I'm doing it correctly or incorrectly, but I just know that I would really like to be asleep right now. And I'm very bored, and I'm not really a TV watcher. So I just ran through that Dairy Girl series, which was only 6 shows, like 20 minutes a piece. And yeah, I would much rather be creating noise of some kind, creating noise with my guitar or with my mouth, or writing or creating graffiti writing. But since I don't get enough sleep, my brain's not sharp enough for me to bother trying to write. And so yeah, transition's been a little rocky for me. But I only got the Valium on the 8th of the month, and today's the 26th, so that's 18 days ago. So, it's early yet. It seems like eventually I still have to take a 1/4 milligram of Xanax at some point. And like I said, the Valium makes me sleepy. And it's disrupting my sleep. I should not be awake talking to y'all. But I thought, what the hell, I would try. I spent a lot of my Christmas. I spent my Christmas alone, except for, somebody coming and borrowing money off of me. And set this up with a little boom arm attached to, what would you call this? The bedstand part of my bed. So that way I can be comfortable, and, I can sit there and what I want to do is, I got some books I want to read. Like The Last Algonquin, Soul Catcher, Comanche Moon, just books I like. And part of the criteria for the books that I will read, once I figure out how to use this microphone, is it has to be something that's not readily available for free on YouTube. Now, I assume these books would be in the public domain and would not get pulled down, but since I enjoy reading, and I would like to figure out how to do that in an efficient and effective and sonorous manner, I would not even mind if they got pulled down, because I would still have them on file for myself. I've always loved, I always used to love to read, and I never had access to audiobooks. And the first audiobooks that I got off of, those of you of a certain age group would remember Napster. But I started getting there was only audio on Napster, and people mainly used it for stealing songs, but I would use it to steal books. And I still have files, MP3 files, from Napster that I stole off of Napster. That well, I don't really listen to them anymore because I've listened to them so many times, but I still have a disc of stuff that I've taken off of Napster. But that's when I first fell in love with audiobooks, because it was the first time that I had any experience with audiobooks. So I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. I don't have to be sitting. I just bumped the microphone. I don't have to be sitting. I can actually be doing dishes listening to a book, or working out with weights listening to a book. And yeah, I even got a short thing that I read by Leo Tolstoy. I think it's called The Three Questions or something like that. That's like 12 minutes. That I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to read that. And so I figured this investment hanging over my head like the sword sword of Damocles might actually prove worthwhile if I can figure out how to use it and get the best sound out of it. It has a gain button on the back, which is on the front. It should be on the back, but like it changes. My voice should change. Wow, maybe this must be the gain. Okay, this is the gain. So my voice should be changing as I'm turning this little wheel. And as I turn it back around, it should be changing as well. And that's the gain button, but I don't know anything about sound engineering or anything like that. But I know that this is a high quality piece of equipment that I splurged on and paid $100 for. And it said it was new, but I just got it off of eBay, and there was a bunch of washers that are loose in the box. And it has like the microphone stand to it. It's like around here somewhere. It weighs like this thing. This thing here must weigh like 3 pounds. It's like everything's heavy duty about it. Yeah, it probably weighs like 3 pounds, but there's a bunch of washers that fit in there, and I had a hell of a time because I didn't want to bother setting up the arm. I couldn't get it to work at first, and I didn't want to bother setting up the boom arm and getting it all set up because I didn't really even know how to figure out how to do it. So I was like, well, to test the microphone, I'll just put it in this little stand. And then I couldn't get it to, it kept rocking back and forth in the stand, so I just ended up holding it. And then I couldn't figure out how to get it to work on Windows 10, so I got an old computer that it was at a buddy's house that ran Windows 8. And I couldn't get it to work on Windows 8 either, and I figured out that I was like enabling it as a speaker, so whenever I had the microphone plugged in, it blocked out all sound whatsoever. So, every test that I did with it, no sound came out if I tried to play a YouTube video while the microphone was plugged in. Nothing, I would get no sound because it was trying to use the microphone as a speaker. So, that just shows you the level of my technical expertise. But yeah, like I said, I'll post what I'm doing with the benzo thing to give this a point to it, I guess. Good Lord, I've had like 6 hours sleep in the last 2 days, and I don't remember what I slept before, so my brain is not good. And I took a quarter milligram of Xanax and 5 milligrams of Valium together, like 11 o'clock, and it's 2:11, and I'm still awake. So, yeah, I'm definitely not going to be the sharpest tack in the foot or the shiniest penny in the knife or the whatever. I'm deliberately trying to I don't know if that's called a spoonerism. See, I don't even know shit. I used to be a bright fella, but deliberately trying to screw up my metaphors and having trouble doing it. Can't even screw up my metaphors right. But yeah, I should be asleep. There's no reason for this. But yeah, it's an excuse to test out my microphone and to see what my voice sounds like. Like I said, this it might sound like crap because this part with the red light, it is supposed to be facing my mouth, but I can't figure out how to do that. So this might be really quiet because the back side of the microphone is engineered not to pick up sound. So this video might not even work, but this is the first time I've tried to use it, and that was my plan. To remain a productive and vital part of human society is by entertaining people with my mellifluous voice, by reading books. And so that's 20 minutes, but as you know, I can do an hour of nonsense. I've never exceeded an hour and 20 minutes of nonsense, however. Even my therapy disc, where I ran through my life story, was only, and I say only, an hour and 44 minutes. And my therapist was like, you kept talking about the time. You kept saying, well, that's an hour and 10 minutes. Well, that's an hour and 18 minutes. I'm very conscious of the fact that I am long-winded. So, yeah, I'm even talking about my life story as a 50-year-old man who, and it's a therapy session, so it's about all the bad stuff, and boy, do I have plenty of bad stuff. Most of which I would be happy to share with you. I would be happy actually just to put that whole therapy disc out there and tell you why I am like I am, and not even give a fuck. But you have to worry about other people. You know, we don't live on islands. No man is an island. And yeah, like I said, I don't have a lot of friends or family, but I would kind of not like to completely alienate the ones that I have, and I do not like uh, putting other people's business on Front Street, if anybody still uses that expression. But I did do something for Christmas that was very Christmassy, and I guess I can say this is I don't know how personal this is, but I guess I can say this is I did not go. I was a father figure slash big brother to my nephew, and I had a very good reason for not going to his wedding at 9.5 years ago, which created an estrangement between us, which we had several civil conversations after that. So I don't think there's any real animosity or hatred there. There's probably just pain. But I sent him the therapy disc not the therapy disc that I've been referring to. I would not, that would be sadistic. I wouldn't do that to him. But I sent him a letter with a USB flash drive and the note in there, saying nice things. And I put a billion stamps on it, and I sent it around the 18th, hoping that it would get there before Christmas. And I haven't heard back from him. And I wouldn't blame him if I never heard back from him, because yeah, people, they don't like to it's not that they don't like to stir. Nobody likes to feel emotional pain. Nobody likes to have that stuff stirred up. And a lot of people really, really believe in the let sleeping dogs lie philosophy of life. But the dogs are still there, whether you let them lie or whether you don't let them lie. And sometimes it's okay to wake them up, and pat them on the head, and say it's okay. It's going to be all right. Scratch them behind the ears and send them on their way. So that was the Christmassy thing that I did. Whether it'll work out or not, I don't know. The dude's got a family, got 2 kids, got a wife, and I haven't seen him for 10 years. When I was young and in good shape, and not a dilapidated, haunted house of a human being that I am now, I would set up little adventures for him, and try to teach him things and be like a father figure to him. One of the things that we did that was funny was there was a local park that had an island in the middle of the pond, and the island, in my day when I was a kid, it used to have this big beautiful willow tree on it, but the willow tree got struck by lightning and just was destroyed. But it used to be so beautiful because there was this wonderful pond in this park, and then there was a small island in the middle of it that just had this huge, beautiful willow tree in the middle of it. But God decided he disapproved of such a vain display of arbordom, and he blasted that tree and turned it to cinders, and then they chopped it down. So anyways, me and my nephew, when he was, I don't know, 12, 13, somewhere in there, I bought a rubber raft, and we took it down there, and we rafted out to the middle of this island in this pond in the park, which was probably illegal. And he had a little flag, like a moon flag. I don't know if it just said his name, like Kilroy was here. I don't remember. I could ask him that if we ever reconnect, what was actually on that flag. But yeah, so it was raining and just ridiculous, and the raft was filling up with water, and I'm like, I don't know, man, this might not be a good idea. How are you at swimming? And he goes, not very good. And I said, yeah, I'm not very good at it either. I almost drowned twice, so we better do this fast. So we rafted out to that island, and he planted his flag on the island like Neil Armstrong on the moon. And then we rode back, and I used to do things like that with him. And I had found a letter that he had written to me like 10 years ago, around the time of his wedding, and it kind of prompted me into trying to reconnect with him, because there's many opinions on the truth. I'm not the type of guy that holds the truth up on a pedestal. The truth is not always. Everybody has this bizarre reverence for the truth. Like the truth is this wonderful, great thing that's always, the truth is always the best and everything like that. Well, I'm not a firm believer in that. And if sometimes the truth can only cause pain. It doesn't cause. I mean, sometimes you can wake up those sleeping dogs and scratch them behind the ears and send them on their way, and they can be at peace. But sometimes you wake up them sleeping dogs and they just turn on you and tear you to pieces. So I left it up to them to contact me, and I didn't say too much about anything. Yeah, that was the Christmassy thing that I did. That was my Christmas. I did go and see my aunt and hung out there for a while. And yeah, that was my Christmas. Now to see how this mic sounds, even though I have it backwards, and it can be adjusted like a million different kind of ways, so I can maybe figure out how to adjust it in such a way. This is only my first. I just got it mounted like a few hours ago, before I decided to try to use chemicals to try to go to sleep, which didn't work. So there might be some way I can adjust it to get the red light facing my pie hole like it's supposed to. Or I could just set it on omnidirectional and take my chances with the noise, but that just doesn't make any sense if I'm trying to actually do an audiobook that somebody would want to listen to. But anyways, I also want to thank everybody that wished me well. And I'm really bad with names. I remember the name Boxberry and Mr. Cheee and Mason and some other people that have been following me and been very encouraging and were nice enough to wish me well. So I would like to thank them for the support. I realize I probably average about 100 views on my videos. So I'm cool with that. I am no whore. I'm not on here to sell you anything. I'm not on here to get your money. I'm not on here to tell you lies. I'm not on here to sing tunes that you want to hear. I'm only on here to tell you the truth. And like I said about the truth can be like a sleeping dog. And sometimes you want to let that dog sleep. But sometimes, you can wake that dog up, scratch it behind the ear, and pet it on the head, and you can get to a better place. That dog can actually be your friend. But the thing of it is, you never know until you scratch his ear. All right. Well, I hope you all had a good Christmas. And my microphone seems to have sunk down while I've been talking. So I don't know how well this whole boom thing attached to my bed is going to work. But I will speak to you at a later time. It's already like sinking down and hitting the bed. So it's time to go.